Part 4. Static in the spin cycle. The laundromat hummed, a low thrum that vibrated through the cool, slick formica of the folding table. Clara watched her jeans tumble, a slow, cyclical torment mirroring the way Caleb's presence kept circling back. Even after 3 months, it wasn't the grand gestures she missed or even resented, but the subtle calibrations, the way he'd adjusted his internal volume to match hers, an effortless mirroring that now felt like a carefully constructed echo chamber. Today, though, the echo felt louder, closer, pressing against her skull like a too-tight band. The elderly woman beside her, perched on a plastic chair faded to the color of bone, held a worn copy of Wuthering Heights. She glanced at Clara, then at the sunshine streaming through the grime-streaked windows. "A bit melancholy for such sunshine," she commented, her voice raspy as dry leaves skittering across pavement polished smooth by rain. Clara blinked. Caleb had said exactly that about this same book last autumn during a particularly gray week. He declared it optimistically gloomy, a phrase she'd initially mocked but eventually adopted, finding comfort in its paradoxical embrace. The woman's face wasn't distinctly memorable, a network of fine lines radiating from pale blue eyes, yet felt vaguely familiar, as if plucked from the periphery of a half-remembered dream, like recognizing a scent you can't quite name, or seeing a face in a crowd and knowing you've encountered it before but can't place when or where. "It has its moments," Clara managed, forcing a smile that felt brittle as winter ice. Overhead fluorescent lights flickered erratically, casting a sickly yellow glow on the rotating drums. Each spin felt like another attempt to wash away Caleb's stain, but it clung to everything. Her clothes, her thoughts, even the scent of lavender detergent seemed infused with his quiet observations. The air hung thick and humid, tasting faintly of chlorine and something else, something akin to regret. Snippets of conversation drifted on the humid air, overheard fragments coalescing into unsettlingly pointed remarks. A young man on his phone. "Yeah, totally overthinking it. You always do." Another woman to her companion. "Just like you always do, adding extra sugar." Both phrases Caleb used constantly for her own habits. Small quirks he'd cataloged with quiet amusement. It was as if invisible speakers were broadcasting snippets of their shared history directly at her. A personalized soundtrack of past intimacies turned present torment. The laundromat felt increasingly claustrophobic, less a space for mundane cleansing and more an auditory torture chamber. The rhythmic thump of wet clothes against metal became a heartbeat pulsing with paranoia, a second pulse alongside her own. Each tumbling garment seemed to whisper Caleb. She strained to listen beyond the drone of machines and chatter. A mother chiding her son. "Don't be such a sparrow." Caleb's pet name for her since college, a ridiculous moniker based on her small stature and penchant for flitting from project to project. A habit he'd once found endearing but now felt like evidence of her inherent restlessness. Was she simply attuned to common phrases now? Had she internalized his voice so completely that it colored every interaction? Or was something more deliberate at play? The thought spread through her chest like ink in water, a creeping suspicion that someone or something was orchestrating these echoes. It was as though they were all actors in Caleb's play, and she alone was starting to question the script. As though someone had subtly altered the lighting to emphasize certain shadows she hadn't noticed before. The clarity was fraying at the edges. Reality itself seemed slightly out of focus, edges blurring like watercolor bleeding into wet paper. The warmth of the sunshine outside suddenly felt less comforting, more invasive. A probing heat under her skin, searching for old wounds under the guise of pleasantry. It felt like being observed even when no one directly looked at her. A subtle pressure in the back of her neck, as if perpetually under scrutiny, as if her data points were being continually analyzed. Clara pulled out her notebook and scribbled. Asterisk Sparrow. Melancholic sunshine. Asterisk. The list grew longer with each passing day, a testament to either burgeoning madness or intentional interference. She flipped back through previous entries. Each phrase felt heavier now, less coincidence and more carefully placed stepping stones leading towards an unknown destination. Her handwriting began to tremble slightly, mirroring the spin cycle churning before her eyes, threatening to unravel into illegible loops. The laundromat smelled faintly of bleach and lost hopes, a fitting backdrop for unraveling what remained of Clara's perceived reality. But beneath those scents lay something else. Stale coffee and dust motes dancing in the light. The smell of lives lived quietly alongside each other, barely acknowledged. She watched her clothes tumble, hoping they could wash away more than just dirt, hoping they could cleanse away Caleb's lingering ghost. But somehow she suspected some stains just ran deeper than water could reach. They were woven into the fabric itself, part of its very texture. Then she overheard it. Remember that little bakery on Elm Street? The one with the amazing sourdough. The woman speaking was directing herself to an older man folding towels nearby. But Elm Street was where Caleb had proposed. They hadn't been there in years. It wasn't part of their regular rotation. Clara stopped scribbling. Her gaze landed on a faded advertisement for local plumbers tacked onto the wall beside the vending machine. Reliable Roots Plumbing. Caleb's grandfather had founded Reliable Roots. A flicker of something beyond simple recognition sparked within her. Not panic yet, but nascent determination. She closed her notebook and focused on that snippet about Elm Street, tracing its edges with her mind. It wasn't just about remembering bread. It was about unearthing something buried beneath layers of routine and carefully curated memory. She rose from her seat, ignoring the damp warmth clinging to skin, and walked towards the bulletin board, scanning notices for lost cats and piano lessons, searching for another clue, another thread in this strange tapestry. There, tucked between an ad for yoga classes and a flyer for ukulele lessons, was a small card, Psychic Readings See Beyond. Beneath it, scrolled in neat cursive, Ask about past lives. Clara reached for her wallet. Maybe it was time to see if someone else could see what she was starting to suspect. That someone or something had been spinning more than just laundry all along.